Hey there, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Be More podcast. I am Brittany.
I'm Maria, and today we're both tired.
Yes. There's something about, my routine super got screwed up this week. So I think that that's
Mm,
like creating the
tiredness.
diffusion, diffusion. I can't.
Disfusion.
I
Not
can't.
the word you're going for.
Oh my goodness. You know what I did yesterday for the first time, I think, in like a very, very long time?
What?
I took a bath and it was wonderful.
Oh, good for you. You know what I
Mhm.
did yesterday? I hardcore cleaned my bathroom. Like now I'm thinking about it. That's probably why I woke up sore because I was like scrubbing the shit out of my bathroom.
Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was
That's
like,
what I
oh,
did.
this
Wait,
sucks.
so that's so funny because that's literally what I did to my bathroom before I took a bath. Like I literally was like, I'm not getting in this bathtub until I clean it like crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
So funny. But I did that yesterday. But it's
That's
been a
good.
long week. So do you oh my goodness. So I've been having I think the thing that's been weighing on me the most this week.
Hmm.
So you know Maja, right?
Yes.
So I have a for listeners who don't know, I have three cats with my fiance. I feel like I have to add that in there sometimes. Um,
By
but
herself, she has three cats.
I have one of my cats is 14 years old, and for anybody who's been a pet parent ever, like having pets, they really are like your children. Like you worry about them, you want to take care of them, and it's really really frustrating because there's a you can't communicate with them like you can actual children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't.
And
Yeah.
so Maji's like I said, she's 14. She's an old lady, and she has this. Have you ever heard of like sub? Oh, I can't think of the rest of the word. Cysts on pets before?
Sis?
Yeah,
No.
there's a word I can't think of the way the rest of it. It's sub something sub. I don't know, whatever. It's a type of cyst that's like a benign cyst. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of like when we get a whitehead
Okay.
and then like it can get infected underneath
Gotcha.
and like start to swell. So cats can get them on like their skin. I don't know if dogs can too. They might be able to. Cats can get them on their skin. And Maj got one on her tail, and the vet had looked at it a few months ago when I brought her in,
Okay.
and was saying that it was fine. There was nothing to worry about with it, which was
Mm-hmm.
great. He was like, I don't need to like I can drain it. He was like, but it's probably fine.
Okay.
So talk about guys. So like I'm the kind of person who can't handle like please. I don't like to like you worry about your pets already, but like then you see like something like traumatic and you're just like, what is happening right now? So I woke up yesterday and like came into my office because this is where she normally is, and I'm looking around on the ground and there's blood everywhere.
Great.
It was like a
Great.
horror. It was like a horror scene,
All right.
and I was like, like I have three cats, so first I had to figure out like who it was, and
Yeah.
like she seemed fine, so I was like, all right, cool. And then I realized like it's sitting at the base of her tail, like that, like it was like this
Okay.
big, sitting at the base of her tail, and it like ulcerated, so it like
Oh God. Yeah.
opened,
Yeah. Yeah. Did
and
you freak out? Did you go to the vet?
well, yeah, I called the. Like, obviously, like none of them are taking day of appointments, and the vet that we have is like 40 minutes away. So now I'm trying to find a new vet that's closer, just in case I have to bring her for an emergency.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm calling the vet was good because they're like, no, this is fine. Like this is normal. This happens to them. Like you just got to make sure that it like they keep the area clean and blah blah blah. But like you go down the path of all the things that you have to worry about, right? Like I had to leave to go to teach afterwards. So I'm like thinking about her the whole time I'm gone. I'm worrying that like something
Yeah.
terrible is gonna happen. She's not gonna stop bleeding, and you just fall down like this rabbit hole of like scary things. So like I was because of how old she is, and I'm sure that you can
Yeah.
relate to this with like everything with snow, like
Mm-hmm.
because of how old she is, you always have like you have moments where you're like, oh my goodness, like one day you're not gonna be here anymore.
Oh
So I
yeah. I
think like
mean, yeah.
oh,
Was
it's
it a
weighed on me
continuation
so
of last week?
heavily in the past 48 hours, which is probably why I ended up taking a bath for the first time in years yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
she's fine, and she like confused about like why I'm being weird. I think because she's like this isn't bothering me at all.
I mean, yeah. They don't know.
Hard
I mean,
one.
they probably. I mean, they don't know. To like, is this a continuation of last week's episode
I don't know.
on
I
death?
guess.
On death, but like now pets.
I guess so.
God, I don't need
Guys,
this right
we are
now.
so full of like the holiday spirit, man.
No.
Jeez.
I mean, like she's 14. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
chill,
mean,
girl.
yeah. old-ish. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, for Snow, she was still kind of she was 11, 12.
Okay.
Older, obviously. Maybe was she 12? God, I can't remember. But she was sick her whole life basically. So
I didn't know that.
she like when we got her, she had a hernia.
Jesus.
She got that fixed, so she had surgery when she was young. She had bad knees when she was young too. So she took like medicine for that too. And then later on in life she just got sicker and sicker and whatever.
It's hard.
Um so that sucked. But I mean Maja's pretty I mean I saw her what, a month or two ago? She seems pretty chill. Still
Oh
pretty
yeah, you would never know she's
active.
14. She's like a
No, she looks great, honestly.
she's
Also cats live for like ever.
yeah, yeah. And she was like the like I think the thing that's concerning me the most is because of what's going on with COVID, like if she has to go to the vet won't let me in.
Yeah, and then and like
And
how's
like
she like alone with
she
other people?
right, and she
Yeah.
our other cats can deal, but so Maji's a rescue, and she
Yeah.
was like essentially tortured. First, she's the runt of her litter, so she was tortured by her siblings,
Yeah, yeah.
and then she was pretty much like abused
Hmm.
until we had rescued her when she was like 6, 7 months old. So she has trust, like her mother. She has trust issues and like has been traumatized. So this is why she's my cat, guys.
Yeah,
Um, so like she really doesn't take well to anybody except me. Like she's
yeah.
getting better with
Yeah.
Dan, but even Dan yesterday got like insulted because he wanted to go pet her and he was like petting her and he was like, "Wow, she lets me pet her now." And then she like freaked out 2 seconds later. Um, but so like the thing that bothers me the most is like even if I want to be able to help her and like she does need to thank God her like it's very clean, it's fine, there's no issues right now, but like if I do have to take her to the vet, I'm gonna traumatize her,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like what's the lesser of two evils?
Right, right.
And
But
that
she
was the
needs to go to the
vicious
vet.
cycle. Yeah, and that was a vicious cycle. So, oh my gosh, guys, you're gonna learn so much about cat diseases today. We have another cat who has have you ever heard of? I think I told you about this when we found out that he had feline herpes.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned this before to me.
And so herpes runs differently in cats than it does in humans. It's a similar like under the radar virus, but they can get it from like their parent or like if they get scratched by another cat, like an outdoor cat. So we don't
Hmm.
really know where Beezus got it from, except for like maybe the one day when he ran away
Oh
many,
God.
many years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so we don't know how he got it, but we brought him to the vet,
Hmm.
and if it goes like untreated and it becomes like active, like if they have an outbreak and it becomes like an active outbreak, they get like an upper
Yeah.
respiratory infection from it.
Interesting. Okay. Huh.
So he was like getting really fun, like finicky and weird. And like his
Oh
eyes
God.
started getting all runny. So we knew that was a symptom of his like upper respiratory infection. So I brought him to the vet and I was how the vet like ended up saying that he had feline herpes. And then he was like, well, if he puts him, I was like, what, how does this happen? Like, how does he get an outbreak? Like, what triggers him? And he was like, well, if he's putting it in any, like, if he feels anxious or stressed out, like that could trigger it. And this is our cat that has like anxiety disorder.
Yeah. Great.
So it's like, all right, well,
So
I just brought him all the way down here to be in your presence to get looked at so that you can tell me that a stressful situation is going to bring him out, like bring this out in him. And I just put him through a stressful situation. And like, it's like,
so
again, it's complicated with cats because like they can't communicate stuff with us. We like have to watch them and like
yeah.
watch for their signals and their symptoms. And it's just,
And like I
it's a
don't
lot.
know. It's a lot. Having pets is a lot.
Oh, yeah,
They're literally children.
they are.
Um
And it's sad when people don't realize what they're signing up for. And
no,
like so many
and
animals get abused and get abandoned and don't get the love that they deserve.
yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people now have gotten pets, I feel like.
Everyone, I went from having a couple of my dance clients who had dogs to now every one of my dance
We're trying
clients
to
has a dog from
we're
COVID.
yeah, we're trying to adopt a dog right now, actually.
I love it. You're home,
Um
so go for it. And like, but that's the thing too. It's like it's it's not just about your like presence and physical presence in your house, and I'm not talking about you at all, but
yeah.
like it's not just like, oh, I'm home, so I'm here if it needs me. It's like, oh, I have to train this puppy. Oh, this cat like needs a lot of attention. Like it's really like having a toddler, like having an infant. Like it's not like
Oh
they
my
don't need
god.
anything and you just gave them a home and you're great, which is what a lot of the issue is with like what they make it like the commercials make it seem like it is when you adopt a pet. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, you're giving
it's a
them a
lot of
great home, forever home, and you're giving them love. Like that's not enough. Like they actually do need things from you.
yeah, because they come with their own situations.
Yeah.
Um, Ashley adopted or rescued Tucker, her new
Oh,
dog, when he was, oh my god, I don't know, 6 weeks old. A tiny little puppy.
baby.
Little baby. He still is like her child, but just seeing her go through that and like talking to her about that stuff. I was like, holy shit! Like you have an infant. I heard a cat meow.
Yeah, that's Gunter. Which is so funny because like he knows we're talking about animals. He's like, I
Yeah.
want to be in this.
But no, I mean like it's like you need a whole routine with these puppies, and like it really brought to my attention because I wanted a dog just to have a dog, but also I'm like I don't have the the bandwidth to like um raise a puppy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a whole different
It's a lot.
story.
It's a whole lot.
Um Especially if like I moved out, like because during this time like I wanted to move out and like figure my shit out, but obviously I'm not moving out till next year.
Right.
um but I was thinking when I moved out to like get a dog, but I was like maybe not a
But
puppy.
it's right. And that's the thing too. Like I always, I'm insane. And I would have a house full of all different types of animals if I could. And honestly, I would do nothing else but take care of them.
Yeah,
But
I'm also that's also a thing because I go to the office, so I'm like post COVID I'm home now, but
that's the thing. I don't think I could have a. That's why I don't feel like I could have a dog because I feel like literally a dog would just need to be with me. Like they really like they need that. They're so on that level. Like
I
our
have so
cats.
much separation anxiety.
Yes, and I've seen so many dogs that have gone through that, and it's so sad because then it ends up
Hmm.
affecting their overall health because like that, they're those two things are connected. But like at least
Hmm.
the cats get really needy. They do get
Yeah,
really needy, and like they need
yeah,
our attention, and we have to be able to give them to them. But like they have time when they're like no, they're like teenagers,
they're
less
like
than
perpetual
toddlers. They're more like
teenagers.
teenagers than toddlers.
Yeah.
Unless you have one who has an anxiety disorder, and then you become their personal support human versus
The other way
the other way around. But but yeah, I mean it's so it's a very complicated thing, and like it really it's not. It's just like when you have a kid, right? Like you don't adapt having a kid to your life. You have to adapt your life to having that kid. And like
Yeah,
having pets is
people.
definitely the same thing. And it's I don't know. I guess like I feel like people get mad when I say that like I have kids or like I have a child, like I have a fur baby, and they're like, no, you don't know. It's like because you don't really have a kid. Okay, granted, that's fine. I don't have a real life human. That's fine. I don't change diapers. Got it. But that emotional relationship is very much the equivalent. Like Maji could
Yeah.
have come out of me. Like nothing would have been any like you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah, no,
look
for
at
sure.
her and I get that feeling of like empathy and like that feeling of like
Yeah, of
and
course.
that's what makes you
A parent.
right. But that's also what makes you really sad when you think about how old they are. And that's also something too that like we willingly put ourselves through when we decide that we're going to be a pet parent.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
know
It's
when we're signing up for it that it's someday they're not going to be with us anymore.
like you're not adopting like a fucking tortoise. Like
Right.
that's gonna outlive you.
Actually, I wonder if the turtle that we had when I was a kid is still alive. I think
Maybe
we
it's in
talked
the
about that turtle last
sanctuary.
episode, right? Or
Yeah,
recently? I
yeah.
wonder if it's
With
still alive.
the episode with Monica. Yeah, maybe in like the sanctuary or wherever you guys put it in.
Oh, geez.
Maybe you can visit it. Um, no, for sure. Like you know what you're signing up for. I feel like. I mean, some people don't.
Right, and that's the problem because I get it's so good that we encourage people to adopt. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think a lot of pets need homes, but like
when we
we don't
got
talk about a lot of the reality of it.
yeah, when we got Snowy, she was like my dad's friend's pet or whatever, and they started getting like one of their kids started getting super allergic to their dogs.
Hmm.
So we kind of, I don't know, adopted her, I
Wasn't
guess.
your dog wasn't hyperallergenic though?
Um, I think she was. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what their family thing is, but like we
Whatever.
just heard that
Either whatever ended up happening,
whatever ended up
you guys
happening,
ended up
like
with a dog.
we got Snowy, and she was like 2. So like
I
that in
remember how
itself,
cute she was. And
you
her
know,
little
she's so
bark bark.
tiny. I know. I mean, and then though that poor dog, we were going through shit during her life too.
Yeah, that's
so
very true.
like so like it probably was wasn't the best time to get a dog,
Yeah, well,
but
I
we
mean,
tried.
yeah.
We tried with whatever we had, but
And I think that like
I
it was so
mean,
nice for you guys, for you and your sisters to have.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But now while we're going through this process of like trying to find like a dog to adopt or whatever, my dad's just like, why don't you just like, because his other friend also has dogs that he breeds or whatever.
Mm,
He's like, why don't you get that one? We're like, well, we could also rescue a dog, and like we have more time and like dedication now to like actually figure this out. So
yeah, yeah,
it's a whole process, guys. Like
it really
I feel like
is.
we've been going through this for like a month now, and we put like 3 or 4 applications in now.
Wow.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, and that'd be so nice.
Mhm.
But it's like it is. It's really it's a lot because in my heart, like we have really good friends who adopted an older cat and then they just got like a young like adult cat.
Uh huh.
And they get along so our cats do not interact like other cats do. It's so funny. Like you see like all those pictures of like cats cuddling and stuff like that. Our cats do not do that.
I would say I don't think I've
Like
ever
not
seen
even like
like them three like together. I feel like they're all in their own little bubble.
yeah, and like Gunter and Beezus will like lay next to each other or like lick each other and do cute stuff, but like they don't like cuddle the way these other. I don't know how people get their cats to, like I don't know, whatever.
I
Our
don't know.
cats also came at all different times. None of them are like actual siblings. Like they've all had their own lives before they met because they were all like rescued or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lived on their without their other siblings beforehand. So it could be that. They just don't do that,
Gotcha. I don't know.
which is so they cuddle with
They're
me,
like
but that's it.
they're like step siblings.
They are.
That's what they
They
are.
act like step
They're not
siblings.
like
Maja and her brother Beezus 1,000% act like step siblings, and it's so funny that I think that's really why I've never,
yeah.
like you know me and my like weird like emotional senses, right? So like when I meet dogs, I feel like I generally get the same vibe from like every dog I meet. You know what I mean? Like they have a dogness to them,
They're like,
and like
the stereotypical golden retriever, like just like super upbeat and just like wagging their
yeah,
tail all the time. They're just like super
right.
happy.
Or like, and
Yeah.
they're very like dogs can become very predictable, right?
I
And
mean, they're very routine. They're very routine
yeah,
based.
oh yeah. And
I was
like
gonna
I
say
even
humans. They're
dog
not
sat.
humans.
I dog. There was a dog. One of my like really good friends had a dog who ended up getting really sick. So I when they had to go away for work, I ended up going and like living in their house for like a week
You have
to
to
dog
dog
sit
sit
the
them. Yeah.
dog. Um and like super sweet, totally loving, but like they just I don't think they're not.
You're a cat person, is what you're saying.
I guess so. I don't know. I like dogs are great and they're lovable and you want to hang out with them and I think they're amazing. But like they're so. I always think of the dog from Up. Like they're so predictable. They're like super goofy and which can be so nice and they're so loving, like unconditionally loving. But like cats are really complicated and every one of them has like gives off different vibes and you have to like build a relationship with them.
Can
And
I
I guess I
say,
like that like that
yeah.
complexity.
So Erin has a cat. I don't know if I told you this. Um, super like keeps to herself, but also is trying to still figure out this house.
Mm,
You know.
that's very cat. Yep.
So really likes Erin, but is still so iffy around me. But she'll like look at me now, as opposed to like just running away. I'm
Don't
like,
you
all right,
love
this is
that? Like nothing. We talk about being like judgmental and having judgmental faces as a person, but like nothing. There's no greater judgment face than like the judgment face of a
of a
cat.
cat. I literally just stares at me.
Oh my god, it's so
I'm
funny.
like, I don't know how to interact with you because you're gonna run away if I get closer to you. So I'm just gonna stand here and say
Yeah,
that
we're
like
just gonna
we're
stare.
good.
But that's the thing too. Like they work. Cats are constantly testing us. So like they work on like this weird subconscious level where like if they sit there and they stare at you, they want to know how you're gonna respond, right? Like they want to know if they're safe to move or if you're gonna shift and move really quickly. Like they like are constantly
Mm-hmm.
taking in the information and assessing the situation because they're super instinctual.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure that out. I think because I'm also like always down here. Like the cat
Yeah.
is always upstairs with Erin and Kate. I think Kate also has I think a better relationship with the cat right now because
Hmm.
she probably sees Kate more because she's also in her room, which is next to Erin's room.
Right.
Cannot stand my mom though, because my mom's just loud. You know how my mom is. just
That was how
screaming.
Maji and my mom were. And it's so funny because, oh my God, wait. It's so funny because my mom, like, it's the same face that the same way that my nephews would react when they were babies and they'd hear my mom's voice. Because my mom gets, like, super excited and loud.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, Maji would just, like, be like, just, like,
Yeah, it
open,
would just be like,
hey,
"You're
guys,
so
and then run
loud."
away. And she'd
Just
be like,
so
come
loud.
here, I want to pet you. And she just runs.
Yeah, same thing with my mom, and
So
the cat
funny.
just runs. And Aaron's like, "Mom, you're just so loud. Just shh, just you're so loud."
So funny. That's exactly what I used to have to do with my mom.
So
That's amazing.
that's also another layer into this whole application process of adopting a dog because we have a cat.
Right. Complicated.
So like, adopting like a rescue or like, just adopting a dog, they're just like, do you have other pets? In the application. And these applications are like, do you
Oh,
have
yeah,
pets or whatever? And you have to like they also put in like the dog's description if they're pet or if they're like cat friendly and stuff. So we're trying to just be mindful of that too.
Oh, yeah.
But then that dog's gonna be Kate's dog. Kate just really wants a dog. I'm like,
Oh, my
Kate, all right.
goodness.
All right, because Erin has a cat to take care of, and obviously she's gonna help out. But Kate really wants the dog, so like it's like a veto process with Kate. We're just like, Kate, what about this dog? And she's like, no. So like we're all right, fine. What about this dog? And she's like, yeah, this one. So it's like going through Kate. It's Kate's dog. Like
Good
next time.
God. Good Lord. But those are the things that, like, with the ages that they are, and like if they're gonna stay in the house or not, like those are the things that they really have to think about. Like the hardest thing for me, this is still funny to me. So we got Maji when my brother left for college because my brother was allergic to cats and I could finally have one once he left for college.
Just very narcissistic on your part.
Huh?
Just very narcissistic. You're just like, all right, he's out. I need a cat.
Yep. Well, okay, so I had always wanted one. And then everyone in my family has a different perspective on how all this went down, to be clear. But
okay, I can't wait.
We the funny thing is that my father has always wanted like a dog. Always wanted a dog. But
I can see your dad wanting a dog.
He always wanted a German Shepherd. Like that's his.
I can
still
also
to this
see
day
that.
wants a German Shepherd. But he like doesn't want to deal with having to train a dog right now. So so he's always wanted a pet. We've had bajillions. We've had like 15 different pets between my brother and I over the course of our lives. Like from turtles to fish to bunnies to birds to lizards to frogs. We had a lot of reptiles for some reason.
That tortoise.
What else? Yeah, we had that huge snapping turtle. Ended up being a snapping turtle. What else did we have? We had multiple hamsters. We had so many animals. So like my parents were okay with it. And I guess at that point we didn't have any, and we hadn't had any for a while. And I think my mother was trying to like fill in like her empty nestness by bringing a cat in. You know what I mean? Like with my brother leaving. So I don't know how much it was really for me, and to be totally honest, my mother instigated this because my mother was the one who saw Maja first.
Okay.
And then told my like saw her and thought she was adorable and was like, oh my God, we saw this cat at the rescue place. Like, let's go. And like that was it. Like the second you tell me that, like we're going. Mm-hmm. So this was my mother to start. But yeah, my dad didn't want anything to do with it. Like absolutely not. He was like, no, we're not getting a cat. No, we're not getting a cat. Even as in the car on the way home, he's like, no, we're not getting a cat. And we have to have the car. So this is how everything started. But I was like, we were just going into high school at that time.
We were young.
I hadn't realized, but like oh my, yeah, I'm gonna have this cat for a long time, but you don't think about how you're gonna have this cat for a long time. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
When I went away to school, it like was traumatic for both of us.
I was gonna say, like, how did she deal with that?
Not very well, which was like broke my heart, which is why it was so important for me to like be able to live with her after. She like my parents said she just like slept most of the time and like would wait at the door for, like to hope that I would come in. And then there were some other things in there where like she like got out of the house once.
Did she really?
Things that were traumatic. Yeah, and she like was too scared, so she ran and hid under my dad's car.
Okay, that's good.
So like just like that's the thing that I don't like when we get pets when we're younger is like we have to think about like if we really are gonna have them, like I wasn't gonna be able to take her to school. Like it just wasn't gonna happen. And like I would have rathered her be with my parents and like still been in the situation she was in before as a rescue, but like that was hard for both of us. And then what now? And then I moved a bunch with her afterwards.
Yeah,
And
you
then
did.
all of a sudden it was like, oh, you're gonna get to live with your mom. And well, I lived home for like 1 year of grad school. So that was nice. She was thrilled about that. But then it was like, oh, we're gonna live together. And then we moved out. And like 2 weeks later, Dan moved in with both his cats. And it was like, what is she
She was
doing to
probably
me?
like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
She's
And
probably
then we
like,
all
"What
moved
did you
again.
do?"
So it's like
Yeah.
she's had a very like she's had an
Eventful.
interesting life.
Eventful.
But
Yeah.
it's again, it's stuff that we don't my best. Like
Yeah.
it's good to have a pet when you're a kid, but like it's and like dogs are different with like dogs are fine with moving, they get over it. Like dogs don't really care.
They're just
But
like,
like
"Get me some food. Let me go
yeah,
out
but
for a
cats again, they're
walk."
super complicated. So it was a lot. It was a lot on her. And like we have another like our Dan's cat Bezos has moved when he first got him, he moved every year for like 4 or 5 years.
God. So the cat's probably like, "All right, is it time to go yet?"
Yeah, like he has. When I had to take him to the vet after like the third day of like having to go, he was like sitting outside of like sitting in the like the where
Like
the
the little
doorway
hall or
is and
whatever.
just
Yeah.
meowing at the door like let me out, let me out, let me out.
Yeah.
Let me out.
Oh my
But
god.
they like it's so that's just like something to consider. Like in a perfect situation, like you keep your pet and you keep them in one spot with like a similar like consistent routine and like environment and experiences and people. But like
Dogs
that's
also
not people.
dogs are a bit complicated too. They do have that like separation anxiety, just anxiety in general. I feel like with new environments, but then they get
Yeah.
like again they might get over it easier than
Yeah.
cats. I think that's what your point is.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh
So
Jesus. I'm knocking
because
stuff over.
I did go on a little weekend trip with Ashley and Tucker,
No.
and Tucker was so small still. Um, like he was God, I don't know. But even so, like he was like bugging like overnight. He was like, "All right, this isn't like we're not going home." Like
Yeah.
like he was just like. But then he got over it by like the day that like, we like left. He was like, "All right, I think I got the
Of
routine."
course.
But then we like left the
Right. And
day
he was
up.
like, all
So,
right, cool, whatever.
but then he was super. It was so funny because then we got to her apartment and he just like knocked the fuck out. He was like, "All right, we're
It's
home. I
emotionally
can
exhausting.
sleep
He probably
now."
didn't sleep the entire time you were there. It's emotionally
Barely slept.
exhausting. It is.
Barely
And it's
slept.
so funny. It's funny too, because if you think about what we are weird. Like humans now, like of the 21st century are weird, right? Like like
Yeah.
regular species don't do what we do. Like and like
No, they kind
and
of
these
just
animals,
stay.
if they're natural, right, they'd go where they'd go and it'd be like consistent and
Yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be it and they'd live their lives and it'd be done. So like we add in a whole bunch of other stuff for them to have to deal with that they never would deal with instinctually. So their
Yeah,
instincts
like
are like scared. What's
yeah,
happening?
absolutely. They're like, what's happening? What happens within the next like 5 minutes of my life, basically?
Yep.
Because like we also like go to work and like go grocery shopping, like run errands without them. So they're
Yep.
like, are you coming back? Like like it's just like you have to
Yeah.
train them, be like, yeah, I'm coming back. Just like give you a few hours if I'm going to work.
Yep. And it's funny
But
because our cats have gotten that's another it's
mm-hmm,
easier to leave um
a cat.
it's easier to leave a cat for an extended period of time. Well, not like a new cat, obviously, because they're gonna be like, "Oh, what's going on?" But
Mm-hmm.
like now with all of our cats, they when we leave, if we leave for an extended period of like a day or two, like with they leave, like we leave them with food and everything. But once they realize that we're not coming back for a little bit, they literally sleep the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and then we come
Mm-hmm.
back and they bother us for like a solid 20 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, okay,
No, all
back in."
right, you're back. Whatever
Yeah, it's not like a big it's not
to
like a
do.
big unless they do feel they go through like weird flows of like being really needy or not caring that you exist.
It's literally a
Like I
teenager.
said, like a teenager.
It's literally a teenager.
Like a teenager.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So,
dogs are very. They need a routine. I think.
oh
Just
for
from
sure.
also like with COVID, and a lot of people getting dogs in particular, not more cats. I've seen more dogs than cats get adopted.
Me too.
When you do go post COVID life and these people have like maybe desk jobs or whatever, like how is the dog gonna deal with that? Because then that's gonna be major separation anxiety. I feel like for the dog's part, because like they're so used to like you being home. So that's just another thing that like COVID's just gonna screw something up,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Pets are complicated. They're like the greatest thing ever,
I'm saying, but
but
they
it
were
is really
so worth
complicated.
it. I feel like they're so worth it though.
But you have to be able to like really if you want to get what you want to get from that relationship, you really have to like
It's a
there's
give
you're
and
giving a
take.
lot. You're giving a lot. Like a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
It's good to have a pet, but also like they also need have their needs and wants and stuff. It's literally a child. You're literally adopting a child for X amount of years you have it.
Right. For like like a not a lifetime contract, but
Did you know birds are like they can be up to like 30 years old or something. That's a
yeah.
commitment.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
fucking commitment.
Oh yep. I don't
Imagine
remember
having
how
yeah.
I don't remember how old our bird was. Our bird was old. We also thought our bird was a boy its entire life until it laid
That's
eggs.
awkward.
Because we had it. My parents had it. I feel like for a while. I think it came from. I honestly don't even remember anymore. I was young.
Sure.
This was like all back in Carteret. Like this bird didn't even make it to like where
Yeah.
my parents ended up moving us. But
Yeah.
we
Damn.
yeah. I remember. Okay, this is what I remember the bird. Super like finicky and moody and stuff, and funny. Used to like throw like food at like people in our family didn't like.
That's amazing.
She's like huge personality, and his name was Leonardo because my brother was obsessed with all the Ninja Turtles.
Makes sense.
His name was Leonardo, and apparently like something had I don't know if it's because she got old or she ended up getting sick. I don't remember, but before a female bird like passes away, they lay like a bunch of eggs that are just like empty eggs.
Okay.
So
So you saw all the eggs?
So all of a sudden, this male bird like had a bunch of eggs in its cage, and we were like, "What is happening?" And then like we brought her to the vet, and the vet was literally like, "Oh, it's a she, and she's gonna pass away soon." And we were like, "What?" That was my experience with having a bird. She was
also your
awesome.
first lesson on like gender.
Yeah, right.
That it really doesn't matter. Like like whatever.
And then like I'm pretty sure in being the me that I've always been, I was probably like, "Am I gonna lay eggs?"
Of course you thought that.
That's like a question that I would ask. Oh man,
that's incredible. Honestly, like that's incredible. Just seeing just random eggs and then finding out your bird that you thought.
I'll never forget that bird because of that whole thing.
But yeah, they're like they get old.
Well, because they're dinosaurs.
Yes. My God, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're direct.
They're terrifying dinosaurs.
Is dinosaurs. Yeah, I don't even know where to go from there.
I don't know either. Now we're talking about dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah, Jurassic Park. I don't know. What else happened this week with you?
I had a 2-year-old. I did have this happen this week. I had a 2-year-old girl. I don't know why I'm thinking about dinosaurs now, but she's like super into dinosaurs, and I realized how little I actually know about dinosaurs except for their extinction because she's literally 2 years old, and she like looked at me and like held up a dinosaur and was like, "This is a blah 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 blah," and I was like, "How do you know how to say that word?"
Isn't it funny how people gender hobbies? Because like,
oh yeah,
dinosaurs like we used to be like a guy little boy thing and girls would be dolls and shit. I'm just like, that's stupid. Same thing with like the colors.
Have you I'm gonna bring this up because this is a perfect example of this. Have you heard of Boss Baby Brody?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, you have to look him up on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's for anybody who doesn't know who this is. Not that he like needs a bunch more recognition, but he's adorable, and he's like his mom is a blog writer. And she shares a really good message. Like she just lets him do whatever he wants to. So like you can't really relate him with like a gender identity because he like dresses up and all.
This kid is wearing a dress and just
yeah,
so he's like androgynous.
He's like a little baby dancer.
Yeah.
And she like shares all these videos of him dancing, and he does a really good. So okay, so you know.
No, I don't want to gender the kid. I don't know if he identifies as a he, so they. Well, this is also a thing.
I think that she identifies him as a him.
For right now,
for right now, right?
Okay. Because that's also a thing that I have to learn how to
do better,
censor,
for sure.
but like do better.
Yeah. But he. So the reason why I like him so much, you know how like we listen to different music because we feel things from the music.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that he like is with music, if you like look back at like through his videos, even when he was younger, is the way that I was with music. So like when a song plays, like you move, like even if you don't know what the words are saying, like you can hear it in the beat and like you move to it. Like there are videos of me as a kid like doing very much what he does in all of the videos that she shares, where like you feel music on a very physical level and like you move to what you're feeling. Gotcha. So like that's why I love him. But it also helps that like he just is this like sassy little thing. Like you should hear like some of the quotes and stuff that he says, and that she just lets him dress up however he wants to dress up and like doesn't say anything. Like
As
it's a
a parent
beautiful thing.
should. Yeah, as a
Right. It's a
parent
beautiful
shouldn't
thing.
be
She like unconditionally loves him for whatever he wants to do.
right for sure.
But why did I bring this up?
Because I was talking about the gendering of
Oh,
everything
so like he
for these
like
children.
dance is one of like the dance world is a big thing where like obvious like we're having conversations all the time about like boys who are straight can also dance, and whether they're straight or not is irrelevant, but like boys can dance period, or boys dance too
Yeah,
period.
yeah. Like, why does it matter
So
what their
he's like a perfect
identity
example
is?
of that as like a 21st century little baby child dance boss.
I also think it's a generational thing again. Just like it's
Oh yeah,
getting more and more like no one's thinking about it. Like if you're
not true,
oh,
but
okay. I was talking about the dancer aspect, but what?
okay. I thought you were talking about like gender choice.
Oh no, yeah, in I feel like yeah, let me rephrase this. I feel like the younger generations again, this boils down to the Gen Z people because with like social media and TikTok and um YouTube and all that stuff, I feel like if a straight guy wants to dance, like it's not even a second thought that they're like they're straight or not
Oh
straight.
yeah. See, the thing that I never understood about it is like back in the day when people like back like if you're a straight man, you should be going into an environment where there's a bunch of women. Like, hello,
Right?
you're gonna get so much
Like
attention.
I
Like,
feel like
how is
yeah, I
that
was like
never a thought process?
you're gonna get so much attention, dude. Like
Right. Like, how is that ever not a perspective that you've taken? Like, let me study dance so that I can be around all the women. Hello.
I don't know, but no, the older generations, I feel like
Never understood that.
gender
No, but you're right.
norms
I think that our
and stuff.
generation, with dance and with a lot of other things, is better. Some
Yeah,
of
it's getting
like
better. It's getting better.
has advanced in our or widened our scope of thinking about it.
Especially in the last like I feel like decade alone. I feel like there's more
Yeah,
acceptance
for sure.
in every gender, race, all that
And
stuff.
I feel like I will give like toys benefit in saying that they are doing a better job of like not gendering toys. Like back in the day you used to see like Legos were only played with by boys. Barbie dolls were only played with like they haven't pushed that yet. They haven't done any Barbie dolls like dolls with boys yet, but like
Like
you
the
do see a
Ken doll
lot
isn't
more
as
girls.
yeah, the Ken doll isn't as popular still as Barbie, but also like as a kid
Right.
that had that had Barbies but also played with like Pokemon and like other boy toys, I would always get such like weird questions thrown at me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That really threw me off.
I don't
So
think that
don't
matters anymore.
no, it doesn't. I mean like looking back, obviously that's the part of the trauma that I experienced, but like
Right.
but don't do that to
Which is
kids.
like a societally inflicted thing.
Don't ask kids if like they're a boy when they're clearly a girl. Like it was the fucking weirdest thing when I was growing up. Also that also adds to my Filipino background too.
Mm,
So don't do that. Though
yeah,
it's
true.
getting less and less now. I feel like with younger people having kids now, like our age, um, they're getting better at it. I would hope. I think.
Yeah.
So
What we really need to change is like that, like we put a girl in pink and we put a boy in blue. Like that's the thing that really needs, like, because that's the foundation of
that's the
all of it.
foundation of that, right? Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Just
I
like,
mean,
put
like
them in a yellow.
I get and that's the thing too that kind of bothers me is like we do like these decorations for these babies. We're like, oh, we have a boy, so we're gonna decorate dinosaurs. Like, you don't know if they like dinosaurs.
No, you're just putting that on them.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I get like it's nice to have a theme and we want to be able to go with stuff, but like I love like my
How about like it's like a
my
matter
first nephew, his
Yeah.
theme was like the zoo. I was like, oh,
Okay.
I love that.
All right, that's
like
not
the zoo.
yeah.
Or like
Just
I think
animals.
my brother and sister did like the Muppets too.
Oh, that's perfectly
And like
neutral.
one of the nice things was when my brother was born, my parents didn't really gender his room. So actually, I don't even know if you ever saw like pictures of this. So my mother is an artist. So my mother drew like all like giant 90s cartoon characters like all over the walls in the room that was my brother's nursery. So there was like Snow White was in there, the Muppets were in there, the baby versions of the Muppets were in there. I'm trying to think of what else was on those walls. Fraggle Rock was in there.
Oh my god.
Like
Amazing.
all of these like cartoons were all like huge giant paintings of all these cartoons were all over the walls. And like that was my brother's baby room, so that it was easy enough to be my baby room when I was born.
Yeah, very
so like
neutral.
those are like the it's just like things that are child specific versus gender specific. So like I was like I love, and I think that's probably what inspired my brother to want to be able to do something like that too. But like that's great. I love that.
Yeah, don't gender your kids,
because then you're not putting anything on your kid, and then when they get older and they actually have interest, then you can like and this is coming from the girl. Do you remember my room when we were teenagers? Do you remember what my room looked like?
I can literally picture it in my head right now. Yes, it was
with like how I repainted the walls. My walls looked like it looked like someone threw up like colors all over my room because I had a very like I had a super girly ass room, and I had like a canopy bed that was pink. Like I had a girly ass room.
Oh my god, I can literally picture it right now. I'm literally going up the stairs in your childhood.
Yeah, my rug was pink. My rug was pink.
I literally
like I was super girly before I hit like my mid-teens, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
I was never girly. Never girly.
My room is what it is. You gotta like I don't know why. I think I just liked because boys' things weren't loud. If that makes
loud.
sense.
I thought you said allowed.
That were bright.
I really thought you said allowed. I was like, what?
I liked
that's a whole different conversation.
Okay. Yeah. No, that wasn't the case at all. I like things that were super bright and like were like super colorful, or like I really like things that had like detail and a lot of designs, and I felt like things that I saw that they just ended up being more feminine things.
Yeah, no, and I
didn't want a canopy bed because it was girly. I wanted a canopy bed because it was dope, and they only came in pink.
They literally only did. And I'm just very subdued, and like I'm usually in a neutral colored outfit or something, and this is probably my loudest color right now is purple in my closet. So like we're two different people.
Yeah. But it's like it was what it was, but like my parents let me decide how I want it. And then my mother is very like your loud and right, like out there. So it's like it makes sense. That's why I'm like that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. And my parents are very, very not loud. Just internally, they're loud in the house.
My parents are both. So it's like it is what it is. But like they at least gave us the space to.
Yeah, my parents also gave me the space
to be able to explore that and figure out. Like and like when now like our apartment is filled with like Marvel. My mother like both my parents like buy us. My mom went cray buying me a bunch of Spider-Man stuff when she like first realized that I really like Spider-Man. Like they don't care. Like
thankfully my parents
doesn't matter. It's like whatever
makes you happy. Yeah, literally. Like I think we're very fortunate that our parents didn't care, because even though my parents are very traditional Filipino, like they don't care. They're like, you like whatever you like. It's your life, which I think is very grateful. I'm grateful for them for doing that, honestly, as opposed to like me being being stereotypical or like trying to be like a normal girl or whatever the fuck that means. You know, like they don't care.
I like there's no I don't even know how to define that anymore. I don't think it matters. I'm all for just being like.
It really doesn't matter.
I also kind of like sometimes confusing people. There was a day that I had like my hair up and I had like a beanie on recently.
Oh my god, you should have seen me yesterday. Like yesterday I was in like it's fun. It's whatever you want to be,
and it's comfortable. Yeah, it's like I just want to be comfy, and I want you to leave me alone. And then it's like you're making the statement that like only guys get to wear comfortable clothes and women have to be uncomfortable because they have to look a certain way all the time. No,
I don't care. I go out and literally, what did I go out in? I had my hair up like I usually do because it's getting long and I need a haircut. Put a baseball cap on top. I had a hoodie on, a bomber jacket, and some comfy pants. And people get thrown off because then I wear my Fila shoes that have platforms that are like this big. So it's like, the fuck, who are you? It's great. It's very comfortable though. As opposed to like going out and
that's all that matters.
I also don't wear makeup, like you know this. I don't wear makeup, and like that's a whole thing too in society. And I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I'm a girl, but I don't wear makeup. Why does that have to do with anything?
It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It is so much. What's great about how you like you didn't let anything that society said like influenced how you wanted to do
No, I did
you know
not
what I
give a
mean?
shit.
Like
In
you
high school, like I don't
you
care.
went through that. Right. Like you went through all of that and you didn't let any of it like
Define.
create
Yeah.
right. Like how you were going to be yourself. And it's so funny like the transitions that we make. Like I went from like makeup is a perfect example. I went from like not wearing any and then I had to wear it for dance competitions all the time.
Yeah, you
So
did.
then
Yeah.
I like got really into wearing it because I was like, this is super fun. I want to play with this. And you remember when I used to have like that crazy black eyeliner on my face? Like then you play with it, right? But like that was a part of my experiences. Like I wore a lot of makeup to be on stage. So like I
Yeah.
played with it a lot. And then I had weird makeup going on in high school. And then I got to the
Y'all
point where I
did.
got to college and I was like, I'm not doing this at
Y'all
all. Like, no, we're
y'all
done.
did in high school.
But it really, yup, it was done. And and that was the thing too. Like I had days at school where I was like, it's all about like your personal style and what makes you feel good. So like I had stuff that I wanted. I remember when I used to wear heels in high school because there were days
Y'all
that I
were
like
weird
wanted
with
to like I
that
needed
too.
like
I was like, I'm not
yep. I wore my point
participating
shoes in high school too. I was
in
crazy.
any of this. Thank you, ma'am. Like I was like, no.
Yep.
And like I'm in that whole friend group
No.
that did
But
that
like
whole.
that was
It was like formal Fridays. I was like, y'all are fucking weird. It's high school. I'm not gonna do that. Do you remember this? It was like senior year.
I don't
It was
remember
like
doing
senior
that. That's
year.
crazy.
Like
What?
a certain like clique did a whole formal Friday thing. I was like, y'all are weird. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use sweatpants. Thank you.
I don't remember that at all. I remember
Of
wearing my
course you
point shoes to
did.
school on the Fridays before we had competitions because we thought it
Oh
was
my,
good luck.
that's also boils down to competition because
Right. Like that was my like
yeah,
dance was my life. So like a lot of the things that I did, but that related to my clothes too, right? Like I was so used to wearing costumes and wearing
yep,
things that were
yep.
loud and like being able to express. So like a lot of that did like filter over into like what that dance was my life. School was like there.
Yeah,
School was there and I had to do it
and
every
you
day, but
wore
dance was my
and you
life.
wore makeup
So
to
like
dance competitions. That's the circling
yeah,
back.
and I wore like all that. That was how I got into makeup. Like, and I literally had like this whole like we used to call them they're called caboodles.
Oh,
We used to
little
have this whole little thing, like
yes,
this whole huge kit that had all
yeah.
of, like the makeup in it. So like I would play with it, and then I'd be like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna do this at school, and like it never goes across to school because like you're in stage and you're on stage lights.
You
Like
should
you shouldn't
not
wear
be
that to
wearing
school.
that to school, ma'am.
Um, but it was stuff that I had to go
Yeah.
through, you know. And like plus my mother, I would see
Also,
my
did you?
mom. My mom was really big into
Yes.
fashion. My mom was big into clothes, and I would watch my mom every day when she
Yeah.
was a teacher. Like my mom had like the like coolest outfits that she would wear to work, and her makeup be done, and her hair be done. So like I'd be like, that's how I'm gonna feel good. This is how I feel good
Yeah. It
about
boils down
myself
to
today. I want to do
yeah.
this for
Boils
myself,
down to
and that was how I
seeing your mom do
was.
stuff
But
too.
like I also got I
Mm-hmm.
I brought a lot more of me into it as I got older. And as I started going on to like to college and had to dance for like 12, 14 hours a day, and I was like, I do not
Yeah.
have the energy or the like
Just
anything
college. You
for
don't
this
have
right
the
now.
energy to do anything but go to class.
It always comes back to the way that society influences us. It really does.
It
And like,
also, I was gonna say, it also goes back to your mom and like your parents, not just your mom. I don't want to disregard your dad, obviously, in this and your your parental upbringing. But for me, like my mom doesn't wear makeup or like
right,
does anything. Like if anything, she's very. It's like her accessories, like her handbags and like if like a coat or
huh,
something, and like
that's cool.
cause like and that's I think that's where I got it from. Cause like if my mom's not doing it, like why do I have to wear makeup and like and I never really got into
No, but
makeup
that's your
and stuff.
first, right? That's the
That's
norm,
the
right?
first.
That's
That's
your
your first
first way you
introduction to
get
society.
right. That's the first way you see it, and it's like, and that's the hard part too. It's like if you are, oh boy, like if you're
Mm-hmm.
born and you're told that
If
you're a
you're born, we're
boy,
all here. If you were born,
if you're born and you're told that you're a boy, right? And you hear that you're a boy, and then you also hear, oh, daddy's a boy too, then you
yeah,
look to daddy as to like, how do I be a boy, right? Like before any of this is even like said in an actual conversation. Oops. Sorry, I just smacked my pop filter. And then if you're a girl, right, like you look to your closest person and be like, oh, mommy's a girl.
And you know
You know
what's
what I
fun?
mean? So like you
Sorry,
look
I
to
just had a
that.
thought. I don't think my parents ever was like girl, boy. Maybe when I was getting older, my teenage years, when they were like
They
I don't
never
know.
said like, oh, you're a girl, you're a boy. They never said
Not
anything
that
like
I
that.
remember. I think it came from like third parties. They're like
Probably. Well,
honestly,
that's
because like I
because
don't
right,
remember.
like that, and that's another part of the issue, right? When you were when you're born, I'm gonna say this a lot today for some reason. When we're born, the like everyone wants to know how to relate to us, so they ask, if the first thing people ask is, oh, is it a girl or a boy, which is why
Yeah.
we have, going back to the thing of like wearing blue or pink, like that was done. And
Yeah,
why my
yeah.
mom got so pissed, because I had no hair as a baby, so my mother used to velcro
No, stop
like
it.
giant bows to my
Stop it.
bare forehead so that everyone stopped, because apparently I guess I didn't look like a girl. I don't know what that even means.
I
I
don't know what
didn't
that
look
means
like a girl, and she
when
didn't
you're an
dress me in
infant,
girly enough
y'all look.
clothes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So everyone asked if I was a boy all the time, and she got really mad because I was bald. So she would velcro giant bows to my hair.
Just to be like, it's a girl, y'all. No, I think
See,
honestly,
but I'm a jerk, and I'd be like, well, what do you think?
I know you'd be
Or
like,
then I'd be like, do you want me to take off the diaper and I can like, I would be a
yeah,
jerk about it.
I know you
Like,
would. I know you would. Because what does it
but
matter? Are you
it
gonna
does,
treat them
because it
differently
doesn't.
because
But
like
again,
they're
now
a
we're
girl or boy?
talking
That's
like
stupid.
30 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
It
Now it's
was
like,
different then.
yeah. No, I don't
So,
think. I think growing up, my parents were. I mean, they probably did say girl or boy, but it wasn't a huge effect. I clearly can't remember. It wasn't a huge effect on
yeah.
my
I don't
identity
think I
crisis.
ever heard anything about like, no, you can't, you're a girl,
Yeah.
from my
Besides like going out at night, like you're a girl, be careful. Like
or like, you
that's a
can't
different
do
thing.
anything with like physical strength or protect yourself. That was kind of like an issue.
So
But
I guess that, but also like whatever. I was like whatever, mom, dad.
yeah, it is what it is. But it's like, those are the things where like, what are things we can say?
To what
Like,
do
if
you
you
mean?
don't want to tell, if you don't want to like box your kid in and be like, you're a girl, you're a boy, what can you say?
You're you? Like I don't know. Like I don't
I
like
guess you
in
have to
what
ask.
context?
I
Like
guess you
it's
have
like
to
what
ask
is
more. I don't know. Like, if your child's like, oh, I want to play with dinosaurs, or like,
okay.
you know what I mean, or like, because how do we? I guess we have to ask more questions of them. But then, how do you do that when they're so young and they can't communicate?
But also, should do you want to like just say like the dinosaur example? Like, I would be like, okay, like, is there any further thought for you?
No, I guess that's not the right example. I guess I'm thinking to myself like,
Hmm.
do you have to tell? It really becomes a question then, if I go back far enough. Like, do you need to give them an identity in terms of gender ever? Do you ever need to make that label for them and tell them
Well,
that?
back then probably, but now it's like it's whatever your internal self deems fit for you. So
And then
you really can't do it for them. They have to figure it out themselves.
but then it becomes complicated, right? Because then once they get to potty training age, you do have to actually, that's the one time you have
Well,
to be like,
that's
no,
the
you have
one
to go in the
time.
boys' room.
Well, that's the one time, right? Like that's obviously
But I guess you can
like
relate
you have
that
to
to
start
like
off that way.
anatomy, and that's easy,
Yeah, I
like,
mean that's just
which creates a whole
biology.
issue for people who don't have like very
Which is why the gendered bathrooms
together.
is such a like societal issue now. I guess like it's a thing that people are like being really aware of is the gendered bathrooms like men's room and women's room
Yeah. And it
and
just
how it
gets
should
like
just be an all
overly
encompassing like
this is why it's such like a gray area. But I mean, it's not like there isn't a solution to make it something for everybody. But like,
the
it's
non-gendered bathrooms would be a start.
but I
Just so it
think,
doesn't confuse not confuse. I don't know. So it doesn't I don't know how to word this because I'm so
see, here's
uneducated
what I
right
think.
now.
I think that there very well could be a communal bathroom, and then within the communal bathroom you have different options for people. Do you get what I'm saying?
Also like
Like, everyone uses a porta potty and no one complains about whether it's boy or girl.
right, yeah. You're also going one in at a time, though. I feel like
That's true. But I mean, like,
in
you could
our
do
like
that.
yeah, I feel like I'm trying to.
Like, if you make a room, like,
Why does it
if you make
matter,
a
right?
room, well, no, because I'm saying like, for people who have like different medical conditions, or like people who go to
Oh
the bathroom in different ways, or
yeah,
like
yeah,
people
yeah.
who, because there's always, the thing is, there's always
Like
gonna
a
be that argument of like,
handicap
I don't
stall
want to
and
be in,
stuff.
and then there's always the worry about like people always bring up the argument about like safety concerns and things like that, or
But
feeling
like
like,
going to a bathroom
but like,
gendered
if you go
too is also
into,
a safety concern because you're in there with strangers.
that's also true. If you go into, like, if you create a large bathroom area, like a large restroom area, and then you give like different areas in there for people to decide like how they, because that's really what the difference is. The difference isn't like that we all have to go to the bathroom. So like, if you just make a big
Yeah.
room that says that we all go to the bathroom, and then you give people the options of how they want to choose to go to the bathroom, and you allow people to have like
Yeah.
A sense of privacy, because like, you know, it's a private thing, you're going to the bathroom, like a sense of privacy, but also to know that they're accepted by a larger community by being in a communal area. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to use a urinal, you can go into this section. If you want to go into a stall, you can go into this section. I don't know
Wasn't
what
this
other
also
option there would be. You can go into
isn't
that
this
section. Like,
yeah.
but to
I feel
not
so uneducated talking about this,
I
honestly.
know, I agree
But
with
isn't
you.
this if I can go into, I don't know, a more, not a relatable, but a more like educated route for us. It's like when guy like single dads have like an infant and there's no
Mm,
changing rooms in the male bathrooms, so then they have to go into the female ones because they have an infant that they have to change their diaper.
yeah.
So it's like, why can't this be an all encompassing bathroom for that? Like, just taking that example, I'm
Like
not
a space for like
discarding.
a changing room space.
I'm not discarding
Also,
obviously the gender norm, the non-gendered bathroom, but it's just like an example. Like, okay, why can't we, again? This is why, like, an all-encompassing bathroom, so that if you're a single dad, there's also a changing room, because like it's all an
yeah,
encompassing
or like
bathroom
a
for
giant
everyone.
in my mind, I see
It's
like
just a
this
giant
giant
bathroom.
I see like this giant island in the middle that's like
It's
separate
just
little
a
changing
giant.
stations. That's what I see. I say
Yeah,
okay, I'm designing the whole thing in my mind. But that's what
yeah.
makes it right. Those established norms that we have in place already or make it the issue, right?
Mhm.
If you create the space and you set that foundation about what it's going to be, and you are very clear in the intent of like this is for everybody, no one's going to feel any type of way about it. But when you have an existing boundary or an existing norm or expectation that's already set in place, and then people have to figure out how to work their way around it, that's when you feel uncomfortable. You feel like you're doing something wrong. Like that's a feeling that I hate, which is why I don't
Mm.
like authority. But like when you
Dismantle the
feel like
system.
right, like when you're working with a system that makes you feel like you're doing something wrong from the get-go, then you're like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how do we start talking about bathrooms?
Um,
Oh,
gender norm.
oh, oh.
Oh,
So
gender norms.
yeah, so like my question is like when you would the best way, so if you have a, because kids are also going to come and be like ask you questions, right? Like I feel like instead of giving kids the answers and saying like you are this or you are this, you could ask them more questions to make them dive deeper into their own like what they
Journey.
really like, into their own selves versus like creating that label for them. And
Well,
then I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
you have
It's
to
also, it's
walk
just hard with third parties, like outside parties.
right. And that's whenever, I mean, let's be real. That's when we start to ask all of these other questions about, like, we worry about all these people getting involved. So it's like, we have to walk. It's like we create this fine line of encouraging them to explore and answer questions for themselves and find out what they like. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're a really stable foundation so that, like, they feel safe and supported. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, they're not,
Yeah.
like, flailing out in space and don't get that. Parenting's hard, guys. I don't know
Even
how you guys do
parenting,
it.
even parenting pets. See, full circle.
Yeah, for reals. For reals. At least I don't have to worry about what gender identity my cat wants to be.
Well,
That's a win.
you guys clearly didn't care about the bird's gender identity until the very end. You're like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was a
because
girl.
so it's like, why does it?
It doesn't matter.
Unless you're breeding them, obviously, then it matters. But like, uh, why does it not matter for our pets, but then it matters for us?
Society. I don't know. Yeah, honestly,
That's a rhetorical
I don't.
question, guys. If you have it, if
There's
you
no.
answer to a real answer, please come on our podcast and explain this to me. That was a rhetorical question.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot in society that just doesn't make sense. Exactly why does it matter when it comes to us? And then again, when regards to your pets, like
Why does it have to
it's
be an us and everyone
there's
else?
there's a really funny meme or like a joke on the internet that I saw where it's like, when you meet a person's pet for the first time, you're like, oh, is it like, oh, he's so cute, and then they're like, no, it's a girl, like, oh, she's so, like, it's a very instantaneous thing
Oh,
for
I do that
pets,
all the time, and then I
right?
always say the wrong thing forever and ever afterwards.
But then for like humans, if it's like a someone that identifies as another gender than they're presenting like biologically, everyone has an issue.
Huh,
Like, so it's like, why is
huh.
it so instantaneous for when you find out a pet, like your dog or your cat, is another gender, but then when it's a human, you're just like,
Yeah,
but biologically they're a girl or a boy or
but
whatever.
because well, the reality is, if you, I guess the human's the one who gets offended if you tell the animal in the wrong gender, but like at the end of the day, the animal's not gonna care, and then neither does the kid though. So you're right. Why is that a thing? And I
Hmm.
constantly do that. And that's something else that I learned from my mother because sometimes my mother still calls Maja a boy, but
But
yeah, it's like you're not harming them by I'm like,
you're not harming the
would
pet
it be like I don't know, I guess we would have to go back to its, and then I guess that
or
bigger issue
they.
is like it's makes it seem like it doesn't have an identity.
But
This is
some people are
such a
not
deep
gender. Yeah,
hole
they're
to
very
go
gender
into.
fluid though. It's very it goes into the LGBTQ
Like
community.
why and I'm still talking about this in reference to animals just because I don't know enough to talk about it in reference to humans, and I know that it's gonna get out of my
Okay.
hands real fast, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
why does it
Also, we did not prep for this
no we did not
conversation, so
why
I
does
apologize for anyone that's listening and is getting super offended because I
and
was
if
not
we're saying
prepared for this.
something wrong, if we're saying something
Call us
that is
out.
offensive, please come on the podcast and educate us because we
Yeah.
want to learn from other people who have lived these experiences, not just us rambling about them and like our own experiences that are not direct.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Seriously.
this might have to be another episode, maybe we should stop.
Yeah. How do we get here? Yeah.
Because now I'm going into like the whole psychology of like
We can table this if you want.
it's
I'm
and
not.
like why I don't want to use it's for a living thing. But then again, I
But
call
what if they prefer it?
right. That's why I'm saying. So like, can I just say it's from now on instead of automatically using a gender?
They them. That's my default.
There. Okay, I
Yeah,
get you.
they them there. There's a really
Can I
funny
use that for
TikTok.
other things though?
What do you mean? What other things?
Okay, so like, okay, so in my mind, I think it's in my head. I'm thinking it's using the word it's or saying something like it is
Mhm.
sounds like it would be like an inanimate object, and seems like that it's being like not. This is my brain, how my brain works, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't want to use it for a living thing because then it almost seems like it's taking away the fact that there's life to it.
Is this trying to is I feel like this is you trying to unlearn our grammatic, like our English
Right. Like it's me
language
trying to
that you
yes.
learned in like kindergarten.
It's me trying to flip the way that I think about it because to me what's more important in the way that I like identify things or like about
Yeah,
things is the
yeah.
fact that I want to be able to respect the fact that it's a life versus so like I have no problem calling my cup an it. But like I'm not gonna call my cat or like another like living like a tree, even like a tree. I'm not gonna call a tree an it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather not say it because it doesn't give it like enough respect to say like there's a life there. It just seems like a very you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like a very shallow term. So I'd
Yeah,
rather say
so
like
they.
they or there because then
Yeah.
I think that is more we've talked about life before, like the way that I see like life. Like I feel like that's respecting the fact that there's a life in something. You know what I mean? So
That's
now I
fair.
have to, like you said, I
Yeah.
have to start unlearning stuff and start relating everything that is a life to they and their. And then if somebody wants to correct me and like has a more specific like identity that they
Yeah,
want to connect
a
to, that
specific pronoun, yes.
this is why we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives
Yeah,
because
and like
it's
it's
very like
eye opening.
first we learn stuff, then we have to
Yeah.
unlearn a lot of stuff, then we have to relearn and identify based on the individual or the
Yeah,
thing that
based
we're
on
like whatever we're interacting with.
it's all interrelation. Like it's
Very
like
complicated.
interpersonal relationships and stuff. Like it depends
Yep.
on the person you're talking to.
And
If they
those are like
identify as an
massive,
it,
lifelong developed skills, interpersonal skills.
yeah, for sure. The pronouns they, them, their have been more used lately. I feel like so it's
I
getting
like
easier
that.
to learn. Yeah, it's getting
I
easier to
feel
learn.
like if until I get better educated based on like the individual's
Yeah,
desires,
it's all the individuals too.
the
Like
things
yeah,
that
you can
I think
identify.
are important are better related with saying that versus saying him, her, or him. I just said whore, him,
Whore.
her, him, her, or it.
Yeah, so
Oi.
okay. Anyways,
Okay, I'm gonna start practicing doing that this week and see how
yeah,
it
I'll
goes.
say
And just confuse
just
myself immensely.
I feel like if it's a practice that a lot of people have to learn now, like if you're meeting a new person and you don't know how they gender identify, just stick with like they them there
Yeah.
until they say what they like what their pronouns are. And it's really funny because I was quick story. I was on a conference call um a while ago now, maybe a month or two ago, and the person that we were talking to um gave us their pronouns in the very beginning of the conference call. I was like, "Oh, you're right. Like I shouldn't assume that you go by she, her, his, or whatever."
Yeah.
And even like in her email address signature.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, this is good because like you don't want to assume a gender.
Yeah, that's a thing that I've seen in like virtually with students. Like some
Mm-hmm.
teachers have them put it like their name and then put their pronouns.
Which is yeah, some conference calls I've had with people, like their like Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
um, whatever has their pronouns. Like, oh,
Yeah, which is super interesting.
it's very. I think it's good because you don't want to assume anymore, and
No,
you really shouldn't have in the beginning of time anyway.
right. Like we shouldn't have been learning that from the get go, but it's alright.
Yeah,
We're trying.
we're learning.
We're trying,
Hmm.
and that comes with like a lot of. We just have to be at this point. We can't just be like this is what has to be done and then not be forgiving because we really have to change. Like everything is changing in what we were originally taught.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully in 10, 20 years from now, when the younger generations are learning this, it
Mm-hmm.
won't be something that we have to go through like the whole rest of our
Unlearning
life process of
process.
untangling and then realigning for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna practice the they, there, and them this week. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna do my
Good.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll only. I mean, there's no harm in those pronouns.
Yeah, if you have,
I'm saying this, but I might be. I don't know if that's right.
I hope not, because I'm gonna start doing it. And if, like I
But
said,
it's
please,
neutral. But those are
if
neutral
you're somebody
pronouns.
who is on listening, who listens to or watches this podcast, and you have any insight on this topic, email us and tell
Yeah.
us, or like if you have a relevant story that you would want to be shared to your own experiences with this, if you're somebody who uses other than the normative pronouns.
There's a really funny TikTok
Oh no.
where it was like my pronouns are we and us, and it was a play on like communist states, like like this is like not capitalism. What's the other one? Socialism. Like
Socialism.
everyone has a piece of the pie and everyone's equal or whatever. So that's why their pronouns are we. It's a comedic thing. It's not actually they don't identify as we and us because like that's just weird.
Oh, that's a whole other...
That's just weird now. I don't know.
My
in the
brain
future,
is not trying to unpack all of that. Thank you.
I have to send you a TikTok. It was so funny.
Oh man. Oh,
My friends are we and us.
good God. Oh jeez.
No,
All
they
right,
and
well,
them.
what a guys. We have Maria and I cannot be left to our own devices. I hope that
No,
these
not when we're
episodes are...
tired. Not when we're
I hope
tired.
these episodes can be. You guys are really getting a good glimpse about what it used to be like when we were younger. Because I literally would barge into Maria. Maria would be upstairs in her room on her computer, and I would walk into her house, and her mom would be like, "Oh," her mom would... First of all, I'd walk into her house, and her mom would say hi to me, and then try to feed me something, which was great. So 90% of the time that I usually went up to Maria's room, I was already eating something.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh hi.
And I would just walk in and just start... I literally would be coming down the hallway sometimes, just like, "Hey Maria,"
open my
and
door,
just
be
like
like, "Hey."
start talking to her. And this is what would happen for the next hour and a half. So you guys are really getting a good glimpse into what it's like. And I think sometimes I think it's good that we come in with topics and we have guests, but sometimes I think it's good that we don't, because it's
Because
this is the reality of what these conversations are like with us guys. Like nothing is scripted today. Nothing was prepared.
No, we got to a topic where I was like, I'm not prepared to talk about this. I don't even know anything about this right now.
Which is good now, because now it's going to send us on like a wanting to learn more. So
yeah, so not educated on as part of like the LGBT plus community.
yeah.
Like I'm not educated.
Which is why it'd be so nice to have somebody who's looking for a safe space to want to educate other people.
Oh, I missed the Q. Sorry, I missed the Q in LGBTQ plus. Sorry about that. I'm also being very cognizant of that too. Yeah. I don't want to like this.
Which is also different from when we were younger.
That
acronym alone has changed since we were younger.
Because now it's LGBTQ maybe A plus. It keeps going on.
I don't know.
But I think it started when we were younger, just LGBT.
Again, so anybody who listens or is in our group or circles who would want to talk about this or share their experiences more in a safe space.
Yeah, let us know, because
we would love to have you and get educated to be better like ourselves and more inclusive.
Yep.
All right, cool beans.
All right, then.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Be More podcast. Maria and I have 2 episodes left for the year.
I was say, I'm sorry, what?
And
can you imagine? Brittany's like, we have 2 episodes
putting
left.
It on a timeline, surprise. And we will probably have guests for both of them. Things got a little bit interesting today with having to reschedule. No worries, but we'll have guests for them, and then we have some exciting stuff coming in the new year. So continue to hang out with us, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, bye.